The chief of the LA police, Michel Moore, made news not long ago when he had this to say about the protests that were going on at that point in Los Angeles.
We didn't have protests last night. We had criminal acts. We didn't have people mourning the death of this man, Goerge Floyd. We had people capitalizing. His death is on their hands, as much as it is those officers.
Okay, so now you've probably seen this video, I'm sure, JR, that you have. He now says he misspoke and he didn't mean it, but he didn't correct himself there, and it was fairly consistent with everything else that he was saying. It kind of seems like the correction was more due to the intense criticism, which we're going to show you, rather than really believing that he had misspoken.
Well, what does it mean to misspeak? It means to misspeak when you are like when Obama was in office and you'd be talking about Osama bin Laden and you go Obama instead of Osama. That's misspeaking.
Yes.
Because the names are very similar. You know, change a couple of letters here and there and you're good, right? Of one letter. So that's misspeaking. But like, oh, my bad. Somehow I didn't really confuse Osama bin Laden with President Obama, but you know, it's similar. Misspeaking is not saying something so blatant in a full sentence with a full thought that is backed by many people that hate what's going on with the protests in this country. And then later in a statement saying you misspoke, you didn't get it. And also immediately after you say the statement, then you go, I know that's some harsh words. I'm paraphrasing. I don't remember exact quote, but he said
something like, and those are strong words. Yeah. He like doubled down immediately.
Acknowledging that those are strong words. When you say those are strong words, it means it's a controversial, it means people are going to not like what you just said, and they may just push back on it. But I don't care because I'm right. That's what you're saying. Stand by it. You stood by it then. But he can't, you know, because he's probably got told by the mayor, hey, you might want to not pull that off because I'm standing right behind you. And eventually people are going to start thinking that I agree with you because I didn't do anything about this. So you need to come out and say you misspoke or come out and apologize. Whatever it is that he told him to do, he did, but it's not very believable.
Yeah, and it's not just the statement. Like, people aren't mad because, man, the LAPD was really nailing this thing, and then he had to go and put his foot in his mouth. That's not what's happening. It shows that he's allied with those who seem to be taking this opportunity to play out all of their fantasies of being RoboCop or whatever. Let me show you one of those. I saw this going around today. These are LAPD in a cruiser chasing down teenagers and firing rubber bullets from their vehicle. Like they're tranking raptors in a Jeep on Jurassic Park. They're driving around and shooting out of their window. Take a look at this.
Jesus.
What is that? And then they drive after them. What are those kids, a lethal threat to them in their cruiser as they run as fast as they can away from these non-lethal weapons that have maimed people across the country?
Because, you know, that'll get folks on their side. That'll make people not believe that there is police brutality, that there's not excessive force. That'll get people to really believe their side. The reality is they don't care if people believe what they're doing because they've got guns. It's the American way. So we've always believed as long as we have guns, as long as we have a means to assault you, we don't have to be right. We don't have to convince you of anything. We just have to shoot you, hurt you, and potentially kill you. That's all we have to do. Yeah. And you're gonna lay down into submission. That's what we want. We don't want agreement. We don't want peace. At least from this perspective, from the law enforcement perspective. In this case, what we want is absolute suppression.
Yeah.
That's what I'm looking for.
And by the way, someone mentioned in the chat, I mean, you saw one of those rubber bullets shattered the windshield of that car that the kids were near. What, are they gonna pay for that? They just casually did it.
Sounds like property damage. If my car got with a rubber bullet, I'd be like, hey, what's going on? These thugs in black and white police cars are coming through my neighborhood and they're upending it. This needs to stop now.
And can I ask you, have you seen the video of the like from the top, the crowd of cops walking down the street past the car? Have you seen that video?
It's like many that are similar.
It's a crowd. There are many. Yes, that's true. It's a crowd of dozens of cops in a block, basically, like a thick block of people, and they walk, and it has to go because there's so many people. They have to go around a car, and as they go by, there's no protesters nearby. They're just moving down the street. One of the cops, as he passes by the window, starts smashing the window of the car.
You know why?
It's happening all over.
It's like a starved attack dog. You don't feed him. You keep slapping him on the face. You keep him in the cage, slap him on the face, hit him on the nose, give him a morsel of food, slap him on the nose. And he's so pent up with anger and energy to come and get revenge for his life that has been put in this kind of position, he's willing to attack. So when they're roving down the street and they're looking for something, like there's no humans to hit. I got to hit something. Let me hit a window. Like their aggression has to be released. Yet we talk about this uncontrollable anger and looting and rioting of the protesters, right? They have unsatiable anger and bloodthirst is what we're being told. But in reality, we see videos of what else is going on. Sure, there's plenty of angry people on the protesting side. But when you're supposed to be trying to quell the situation, breaking windows, what does that get you? It gets you this energy rush, this release of aggression that you've got built inside of you.
Yeah. Yeah, and when we have credible footage of undercover cops breaking windows and things like that, we see this, all the property damage that they're doing, let alone all the stuff about the bricks being planted and everything. The fact that the media is so loath to admit the obvious, which is the cops want you to believe that there's more damage than is actually being done so that they can justify doing whatever it is that they want to do. That is the big story of all of this, and it's being missed. Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.